Hello everyone, Mithrandiel here with the Geekly Grind, and I am very excited to be demonstrating and opening up Beadle and Grimm's latest platinum set, Spelljammer. So we received a very large box the other day, and could only assume that it was something awesome from Beadle and Grimm, given the awesome Beadle and Grimm tape on the box. And so, yeah, we've already done a little bit of digging in, but we want to make sure we got some of it on video for you all to enjoy. So let's take a look. To start, tiny little cup here of Dead Man's dice. Inside there are some wooden dice that you can use to play with. So pretty awesome. And then, of course, the rules to the game as well. So if you are interested in running some Dead Man's dice for your table, you will have everything that you need. So there's that. Now, here it is, the big box. So on the back, we've got the numbering for the limited edition, number 795 out of 1,000. Those of you who are unfamiliar with the platinum sets, Beadle and Grimm does only make 1,000 of their platinum sets, and they are numbered as such. So if you do invest in one of these, I am not going to lie, they are expensive. If you're familiar with Beadle and Grimm's products, you would know they are expensive, but that's part of what you are paying for, is the exclusivity, the limited edition nature of it, right? So anyways, big box here, some nice art on the outside. We'll pop it open. So on the inside, got a little bit of iconography there. Okay, so a few of the things that are in the big box. Of course, a little introductory message. Usually these have a simple kind of thank you letter and some introduction to what is included in the box. And then we've got a little folder here that includes some handheld maps. So in here you'll find a number of small ship maps and things of that nature to get a better look at the various ships that you might be exploring, giving some good layouts of all of them, and then a lot of ship layouts here, really. So some cool stuff in here, good handouts for your players to better familiarize themselves with their ships. Next up, we have a DM screen, and okay, so Beadle and Grimm does a limited DM screen with pretty much all of their sets, and I have to say this is probably one of my favorites of theirs. It's a favorite of mine. It's got a really cool scene here on the back. And so laid out in front of you, if you're running a Spelljammer game, I think your players will really appreciate it. I know I really appreciated it. And so the art on this DM screen is really, really cool. Really enjoyed that. All right. We've got the Exploded Astral Adventurer's Guide in here. So those of you who are familiar with Spelljammer knows that it came in 3 sort of smaller books that included the Menagerie and the Adventurer's Guide, etc. And actually, I was curious if this Exploded Guide had all of those things. So I'm gonna actually open this. All right, let's see. What have we got in here? So we've got the Astral Adventurer's Guide, as I mentioned. We've got, Boo's Astro Menagerie. And we have the Light of Xerxes module. And then the Player's Guide, Astral Adventurer's Guide for Players. So there it is, yeah. The whole book, the whole set is in there. It looks much smaller in paperback, I will say. But, this was something that we had talked about before when Spelljammer came out. We know that the content was a little light comparatively, but I think, it might not seem like it's all here, but it is, in fact, all here. So you have all of the material that you need from the books in that Exploded set. So there's that. handouts. So we've got a number of cool handouts and ads. Honest Terran salvage ships and slightly singed supplies, for example. Of course, there are a collection of Wild Space Tales from the warehouse. So that includes some additional adventures and such in this book, and then there are some Platinum Edition. This is a guide of all of the handouts and extra things that are in this Platinum Edition that are related to the Light of Xerxes module. So as a DM, you can know, like, oh, for this chapter, I'm going to give them this handout. For this chapter, I'm going to give them this letter, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a nice little guide to using all the fun toys that are in the set. So pretty cool. We've got some spell cards and magic cards. Oh, if they're not upside down. So spell cards and magic item cards in here, and items. So they are included so that you can hand them out to your players. So Oil of Sharpness, Tablet Spellbook, Spell Scroll of Wall of Force. So just a few things that you could hand out to your players. Some fun items and spells for them. Got another handout here. A little stowaway. Probably one of my favorite parts of these sets are the encounter cards. So there are quite a few encounter cards in here that you can hang over the DM screen for you to set the scene for your players. And then of course on the back you'll have all of the information that you need, challenge rating, all the actions for the enemies, legendary actions if applicable, resistances, all that good stuff, all here at your convenience with the great image on the front. So a ton of those encounter cards in here as well. In addition to the encounter cards, there are also a lot of ship cards, Spelljammer cards. So this is where you will get more information on the various ships that you could utilize, their flying speed, how they engage in combat, all that other good stuff. So basically the various weapons that they might have, how long the keels and the beams are, how much it would cost for the various ships, all that good stuff on the ship's card info here. And then there is also secondary art pieces and kind of set pieces that you can put over your DM screen. Again, when you're working through certain parts of the module or a certain area that you want to introduce to your players, then you have more of a visual aid for them. So all fun stuff. So those were the encounter cards, the module, the smaller hand size maps, etc. Now we've got a few props. We've got a medal. So if one of your players did something worthy of earning this medal, it's got a little pin clip and everything. So there you go. Might earn that in battle. You never know. We've got a compass. Now this thing is hefty, I will say, and it's very well made. So you can kind of turn this thing around the middle. It's got great heft to it, so you can, theoretically you would utilize this in navigating the astral sea and all that good stuff. Very cool prop here. Good quality made. Heavy metal, all that good stuff. And then probably the funnest thing in here is this ring. Now, interestingly enough, this ring does fit me, which is funny. I was like, oh, I wonder if it'll fit, and so I just kind of popped it on, and wouldn't you know it, it fits. So I asked my wife if you know, if she thought it would be weird if I like wore it around, and I think the stare that she gave me kind of answered that question. So I won't be wearing it out in public, but still, it is a pretty awesome piece. I think it's pretty fun. So again, the compass, the medal. There's also the commemorative coin in the box as well, and so those are all of the items that are in the kind of big main box. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the maps. All right, maps. So I will say I wish I had a little bit more space and a bit more of a better laying out field so you can get a better appreciation for these maps. I took a picture of you, so I'll put them up on the screen as well as I'm describing some of what you can expect in the map set. But we've got, for example, star charts of the realm space here, which is pretty cool. Outer worlds, all that good stuff. So that's one. You've got the Rock of Brawl, which is a key element of the Xerxes module here. So it's essentially a city that kind of exists on this this asteroid. So that's the top side, and then there's the underside. I mean, it's just really rich, like a very vibrant map. Super cool. So, really enjoyed that. Like that piece. There are also a number of maps of ships. So, again, if you're having combat on a ship or something of that nature, as well as a beautiful map of, it seems like either an upscale inn, or something of that nature, almost like a gala or a banquet of the Edge. And it was probably my favorite map. It looks really, really cool. It looks like a really cool setting. And again, really good detail on these maps. Really good utility, kind of expanding your repertoire, even if you're not necessarily running a full Spelljammer campaign. Just having the option to, run a game in a space like this with your players, super, super exciting. So in total, there are about 8 combat maps, as well as the Rock of Brawl map, topside and underside, and then the Realms of Outer Space. So about 10, 11, about 11 maps, give or take, which is pretty awesome. And again, can help to supplement your experiences in Spelljammer. So that is included in the handy dandy map tube as part of the platinum set. Okay, last but definitely not least, let's take a look at the minis. All right, everybody's favorite part. Big box O minis. So there is a healthy selection in this platinum set. So here they are. I will definitely edit out the part where some of the minis fell out. And here they are. So we've got enough, but good selection here. So we've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of larger minis, and then we've got 14 like small to medium minis in here. So 19 minis. If you're doing the math in your head, you know how much these things cost, especially the bigger ones. And so even at the retail price of about $500 for this size, these size painted miniatures, does get you like halfway there, kind of. So that's just something to consider when you're thinking about the value, right? But anyways, let's take a closer look at some of these. So we've got a Braxet. This is like a large sort of rhino-looking baddie here. Looks like he'd make a great sort of intergalactic bouncer of some sort. Hired muscle. We've got the Thalgu. There we go. I was like, is that an I or an L? Like a weird spider-looking person. Not the prettiest thing. You'll see. But again, some really cool detail on these minis. Got an Artux Elder. It's like an octopus-looking thing, or starfish-looking bad guy there. And then we've got Brog. So this guy is getting ready to throw a boulder at you and stab you with a spear, you know, just in case. It's called an insurance policy, I guess. Check out those muscles. And then we've got a young solar dragon here. So the spectral pieces before that kind of fell out are the wings. Which ultimately look something like that. So you can have the solar dragon enter the field and look pretty impressive at the same time. It's awesome. Digging that. Love the wing design. Set that right there, actually. And then beyond that, we've got a handful of other little creatures that one might encounter on their Spelljammer journey. And the great thing is, too, on the bottom of these minis, they have all the names on them. So, and some of them are quite a mouthful. So we've got a Syrian Rogue here. This little, like, dinosaur-looking dude. And then we've got... Oh, an Aogi Master. Got an Aogi Master here. Now, some of my favorites definitely are going to be the Gith. So these are a couple of NPCs from the Light of Xerxes module, I believe. But if you ever wanted to play like a sentient hippo person with like a blaster bus or like a rifle, you have that option. And then we've also got some other kind of burly guys here. So this is actually Commodore Crux, and then Warwick Blastimov. So, and in case you were wondering, the one with the rifle is the Blastimov one. So, fitting name. We have Princess Zadali here. So she is sporting a interesting get up here with a helmet going on, like almost like an oxygen tank type helmet, or an oxygen helmet type deal. And then Zodar, who looks like almost like a battle armor, like a destroyer armor from Thor. And a handful of other minis as well. So if you ever wanted to play a pink tiefling, here's your chance. This little dude here. This is probably one of my favorites. Hastane. Really cool trident design here. Really dig that look. As an inspiration for a future character, perhaps. Really cool. So, yes, tons of minis, tons of maps, awesome handouts, exploded Spelljammer guidebooks, all that good stuff. Dead Man's dice. So, all in all, Beadle and Grimm delivers once again with this platinum set, and we are delighted. It's a really, really cool set. Again, they're not cheap. They are not cheap. The retails for about $500. But I was talking with some friends about this the other day as well. If you have a group that you play with regularly, 4 or 5 other people that you meet with, every two blue moons or however your scheduling works out. But if Spelljammer is a world and a setting that you want to explore together, then it would make sense to kind of go all in, everybody pitch in some money to invest in this set, because it really does elevate the level of play. The handouts, the minis, the DM screen, the maps, everything really does sort of bring it to the next level. And, when you think about just the value of all of the components that you're getting, when you think about the value of the maps, the value of the minis, the value of the encounter cards, I mean, it's there. It's all there. The question ultimately is it something that would be worthwhile to you, right? So that's really it for me. You know, I don't know if it would be Spelljammer for my group, but I know that there are Beadle and Grimm sets out there. Wild Beyond the Witchlight, Rime of the Frost Maiden, for example, etc., that absolutely we would invest the funds into, because it helps to enhance that world that we want to explore. So if Spelljammer is something that is near and dear to your heart, I would say this is a worthwhile investment. The minis, everything else that I just described, it's awesome. So thank you again, Beadle and Grimm's, for sending this over to us to unbox, to check out, to enjoy. And if you have never invested in a Beadle and Grimm set before, they have some really great silver editions that you could check out as well, at a slightly lower price point, that include things like the maps and some of the other handouts, etc. But yeah, I mean, this is just a fantastic release, a fantastic product, and we look forward to seeing what else Beadle and Grimm has in store in the coming months and coming years. So thank you again for tuning in and checking us out, and thank you again, Beadle and Grimm, for your partnership, and I hope all of you have a great day. Enjoy your D&D.